I'm recording now, and I forgot to actually do an intro. One of the things that has been bugging me for almost a decade at this point is how Hollywood has handled masks, and more importantly, how they've mishandled the characters that have masks, because it is one of those tools that they have consistently gotten wrong. Now, I have to admit that this whole rant about masks started with a video a while back that I saw going through how the Winter Soldier movie, which was absolutely fantastic, was ruined by the misuse of a mask. And from then on out, I realized that that man was speaking absolute scripture, and it made me so much more aware of how powerful a mask can actually be. Now, I'll link that video down below if I could find it. It's been so long since I watched that video with my eyes. But I don't just want to rehash what he said. I want to go ahead and talk about what is the ultimate point beyond what he made in that video. And again, go watch him because I think it's a cool video. You know, I like those guys, and I don't know who that is. Couldn't name the channel right now off the top of my head if I tried. Mumbo jumbo. But when you think back to cinema, if I told you to name 3 masked characters, you could probably do that very quickly. The first one that comes to just about every single person's mind is Darth Vader. There's something powerful about creating a villain, and sometimes a superhero as well, where their identity behind the mask means more than the character themselves. There are other characters that wear masks as well where this is even more apparent. For example, there's Batman. It's not just the idea that he's in a mask and it hides who he is, but it's the dichotomy of comparing Bruce Wayne versus Batman on how, although they're the same person, they're really not the same person. One of them stands as a symbol and another one does not. You could even say the same with Spider-Man and how they kind of blur the lines between Spider-Man and Peter Parker, yet Peter Parker understands the importance of Spider-Man as a symbol. But specifically today, I want to talk about how Hollywood has ruined masks by taking them off. If you look at the history of those 3 characters that we named, Darth Vader, Spider-Man, and Batman, they all have a few very similar things. First off is that the mask means something. The person behind the mask isn't the same as what the mask represents, meaning that the mask itself creates an idea of a character, not just a character themselves. The mythos of that character becomes more powerful than maybe the punches that they throw, or potentially even the ideologies that they hold. For Darth Vader, it's not just Anakin Skywalker on a vengeance. He becomes a harbinger of doom and death and destruction that you cannot cross, and is utterly emotionless and powerful. With Batman, he's a symbol of protection, and Spider-Man's a symbol of hope. But specifically, the way that they remove the masks and show the character behind the mask is something that Hollywood doesn't understand. And what I mean by that is cheeseburgers. I just came to mind. I'm so hungry. Oh man, poor me. To make it short and sweet and simple, and to actually get to the point of this video, why do characters have their masks removed so early when it means nothing? Take, for example, Star Wars Episode 7, which I know, calm down, boomers. I know that movie sucked. It wasn't great. It was Episode 4, but worse. They tried to rehash the same villain idea where Kylo Ren was going to be some powerful character that was the literal opposite force of good. He was evil. And they were starting to do that by creating an idea through the character alone. In the opening scene, I actually thought they did fantastic at displaying who he was when he stopped the laser midair, which was sick. But then they ultimately ruined his entire character by having him remove his mask, calling him Ben. Yes. No. And then for the rest of the series, he was just some whiny kid. So I relate to him, but that idea of fear and of someone who is destructive and a danger and a force for evil and an opposition to good, more specifically, that whole illusion is broken. It's like that one kid who plays sports and he wears a lot of eye black on the football field, but he doesn't actually play. That's what Kylo Ren felt like, because they ruined taking off the mask. They did the same in Winter Soldier, and this is the point that the GOAT talked about that got me on this whole tangent to begin with. Once Bucky had his mask removed for the first time, there was a powerful moment where Steve Rogers realized that this dude is the guy that I grew up with. He's my BFF. He's my buddy. But after that, they left his mask off for some reason. Bucky doesn't understand who Steve Rogers is at this point, so he doesn't have any reason to keep his mask off. In fact, he should just put it back on, but for the rest of the movie, he doesn't. Not even that bottom cowl that covers his mouth. He doesn't wear anything, which I don't understand why at all. It could have been used so powerfully to show when the mask comes off at the end, maybe that would mean that Bucky's finally realizing that Steve Rogers is his friend and he's no longer the Winter Soldier, but he doesn't do that. And it's not something that ruins the movie at all entirely in the slightest, but it was a whiff. It was a missed opportunity for something greater, a symbol to be portrayed, which is something that just comes back to this whole argument all and over and over again. All and over and over again. What the heck did I just say? I don't know, man. But masks are symbols. Another episode and movie and series, all the same thing. I was just fishing for the right word and I couldn't find it. It was a series. It was The Mandalorian, and they ruined that one too right away. Again, the Mandalorian code is to not remove your mask. And what season did the Mandalorian remove his mask? Oh, season 1, I forgot, because why build up a great character if you're just gonna have him remove his mask right away? I hate it. Don't build up this idea of someone who's going to be powerful and hiding behind this mask in a powerful way, and then take it out. Pedro Pascal. Wow, that was the widest way I could have pronounced that name. Pedro Pascal, old Pascalio. I don't understand why they removed the mask, because it takes away so much of the idea of the character that you're building up. And it makes you see the actor for the actor, because as soon as you remove the mask, you're quite literally pulling the audience out of that moment. There are very, very specific and powerful ways that you have to remove a mask. And most importantly is that you have to do it to show significant, earned change. Again, the greatest masked character of all time is Darth Vader. I don't think that's really a question. I think there are other characters who are great, but Darth Vader is the best and portrayed the best. They have him as this towering, imposing presence, but when he removes his mask, it's not until episode 6. In episodes 4, 5, and 6, they spend the whole time building up to this idea where, yes, you're overthrowing the Empire, but Luke has this unbound hope that his father can change. And you're kind of getting these nudges, these ideas that it could happen, but you don't see it actually happen, and you don't know if it's actually happened, not even after Darth Vader throws the Emperor off into the bridge and he explodes, only to return later, because, you know, that's good writing. But when he takes his mask off, that's the very moment where it hits you and you realize, wow, he's actually changed. He didn't just do one sacrificial act out of a spur of the moment, heartfelt moment. But he didn't do it just for the act of saving his son, but he did it because he was actually changing. And removing the mask showed him removing the old identity, the old symbol of destruction of who he was. You could even use the same argument when talking about Batman. When he removes his mask and becomes Bruce Wayne, they are two completely separate people. They are nowhere near the same. Same with Spider-Man. Peter Parker is this shy, nerdy dude, but then Spider-Man is supposed to be this unapologetically bold and charismatic hero. The mask gives the character power, gives Bruce Wayne power to do more, gives Peter Parker more power to do more, and the mask was the identity for Darth Vader to do more bad things. But again, in The Mandalorian, they just ripped the mask off to try to have a heartfelt moment, but it didn't work because it wasn't changing the character of who he was. You kind of already knew that this was the path that he was going on, that he would protect the kid, El Nino. Not to be confused with the rain down in Chile. Gosh, please be in Chile. I don't want to have to correct myself. You know what actually spurred on this whole frustration wasn't any of the things I've mentioned so far. It actually, like, this is an argument or a stance I've held for a long time, ever since that one goat video. Oh man, I sure better find the link at the rate that I'm mentioning this video. But although I've had this idea in my mind for a long time, but it was the Doctor Doom reveal in Fantastic Four. I understand that you want to have Robert Downey Jr.'s name out there because he's Robert Downey Jr. But the power it would have if you didn't tell anyone who was acting as Doctor Doom. I know it's hard to suppress leaks, but if you could do that, it adds so much more mythos to the character. But then even worse, even more silly, in one of the post-credit scenes they had him take his mask off. You haven't even introduced the character and you already pull his mask off. It ruins it, because then at that point, if they end up having a movie where they fight Doctor Doom, it's like you're fighting your friend. You're not fighting this ultimate symbol of evil. You're not fighting destruction or an ego. You're fighting Buddy Boy over there. Like, I grew up with him. He used to eat crayons in 3rd grade. When I stopped eating them in 2nd. I mean, even on a basic level and completely unrelated to any movie, I think having a faceless face, a mask that some might say, leads to an intrigue. It forces you to wonder. There's so many faceless YouTube channels out there. Although if having your face out there or not plays too much into the ultimate success of your channel, depending on what you're doing, I'm not entirely sure. Well, I'm sure it does. I don't want to do the research for that right now, man. I'm a little tired. I worked today. But when you don't have your face shown publicly, it adds intrigue and mystery, and people want to know you, and they create a more grandiose view of who you are, whether it's true or not. I know it's a little bit of a controversial topic, but I look at Dream and his fan art before he did his face reveal. People had these visions of him that were pretty wild, to say the least, man. I mean, they had him shredded like beef, and he's a fine looking dude, but I mean, there's a difference between anime protagonist and the chin. That's racist, man. I'm white too, so I could say that. God, I look like the most stereotypical white guy right now. I look like your uncle who says mean things at the family dinner. I can't grow out a beard on the side here. My wife really wants me to get like the 5 o'clock shadow look, you know, like that Chad look that everybody has. It's just not happening, man. This is a full week of growth. I look so stupid. I look so ugly right now. That's all right. I'm married. She can't leave. For my 0 fans that are watching this video right now, I beg of you to go to your best friend who happens to be a Hollywood director, and if they have a character that has a mask on, tell them to keep the mask on. Taking a mask off is an earned privilege. It's not something that you get to write into a story to create an emotion. It's something that the story automatically leads to. You don't get to a point where you just say, you know what? I think if I decided to have the character remove his mask at the end of the movie, it would be powerful. It has to lead to that point on its own where it is a necessary and a natural response to a situation. If it's something that you feel like you had to twist in any way to write it in, or if you had to set a scene so that the character can remove his mask and it doesn't just automatically lead to that in the natural series of events, I don't know what to tell you other than don't do it. You shouldn't have had a masked character to begin with. All right, buddy, if you agree with me, press like down below. Still 0 subscribers. Bye.